So I was wanting to make a video about what I had learned from owning two cats. So the backstory here is that, we're all quarantined and me, like a million other people, had the thought of getting a new pet, like a dog or a cat or something like that. And I've always wanted to have a dog. I just never thought that there was a great moment to get one. So it was always like, oh, it's not practical. There's a lot of responsibility. So I finally got to the point where I was like, screw it, I'm gonna get a freaking dog. So I went to go get a dog, or at least inquire about getting one on the Humane Society, and they were completely there was no way to get a dog, which is really cool on one hand because it shows that there's a lot less dogs who are being put down for no reason. But it also is just like, dang it, like I want to get a dog. And so there was a lot of people trying to get them, and the only way you can really get the dog was to set up a Zoom call, assuming that you even got picked to get to that point. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer because I want to get like a vibe of like how it was like, it's nice to have like a feel if you guys have chemistry or not. So then I thought, okay, well, I'll sign up to be a foster, why not? So I signed up to be a foster and went through the whole process, got interviewed, showed them my house, and I figured like, I could just adopt or foster a dog, and if there's chemistry, I can keep them, and if not, then I can help them be rehomed to somebody else. So I had this big grand plan, and about a week after I signed up for this, I get an email from one of the women who worked there and said, hey, I have two kittens, would you be interested in fostering two kittens? And I was like, well, who doesn't love two kittens? Like, I don't want cats, I'm not really a cat person. But nonetheless, I just said, screw it. Yeah, sure, I'll take them. So October 25th, I picked these two guys up, or Mia and Louie, brother and sister, and they were so adorable. I mean, I still didn't want a cat. I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna have a cat now. I was like, oh, these are really cute to have, pass the time with. And so I ended up having them for well over a month, and I was like, okay, like, are they gonna start, are we gonna find them a home or whatever? So then they had to get their vaccinations and get spayed and neutered and the whole thing. So so throughout this whole time, I didn't realize it at first, but I started to get more and more attached to them, and one morning I woke up and I just had this they were both snuggled up into me, and I just had this feeling in my stomach. I'm like, oh God, now I love these two freaking things. Now I have to keep them, So I went on Instagram of all places, and I'm just made a public service announcement like, hey, I'm keeping these cats. And I just was like, oh great, I made the decision. I marked it on my calendar the day I decided to adopt Mia and Louie. And I went to bed, and then the next day I woke up and I just had this awful regret, oh my God, what am I doing? I just told the whole world I'm keeping these cats, and they're gonna live for 15 years, and I'm gonna have to deal with them, and I'm not gonna be able to travel anymore. And I just started spiraling, I'm not even a cat person. It's the dumbest things to be worried about, but I was stewing about it, and it was really stressing me out. And then one night, I was talking to my mom, and she's sending me cat toys, and she's being super sweet. She got this cat condo for them, just the best. And one day it just dawned on me, I'm being super selfish. I mean, of course you have to be practical, and you shouldn't just go out adopting animals if you can't really, if you're not in the best position to do so. But it just kind of had this, it dawned on me that wow, I'm being super selfish about this. I'm just wanting to get a pet just to soak up as much out of them as I can, versus realizing this is a living animal, this is, granted the capacity to have emotions and all that is not as complex as humans, but this is a living, breathing thing, why not give this unconditional love versus what can you do for me? And it sounds silly, right? But I feel we do this with everybody. We just kind of use people for what we want them for versus just genuinely giving them unconditional love, no strings attached. So again, as silly as it sounds, I just made this little shift in the way I thought, and lo and behold, my whole relationship with them started to change. I started to just give them that unconditional love and not expect anything back, and I think they could feel it, because then all of a sudden, like, our connection grew even deeper. And it's just hilarious because, like, again, I'm not like a cat person. I'm a total dog person. But I just made the shift, and I realized, like, you know, cats aren't like dogs. You can't just like cuddle them and be like, come here, come here. Like, cats are on their own program. And that's another thing that was tough for me, because with dogs, you're just like, come here. And like, they're just super happy to see you regardless. Like, you are their king in their world. But cats, they're on their own program. Like, they can take you or leave you. Like, 1 minute they'll want you, 1 minute they won't. And it's annoying for somebody who wants to just, like, you know, cuddle up with their little furry friend. But it taught me another valuable lesson, that, you know, cats need their space, just like people. People need their space. And if you are always expecting more and more out of people, and for them to fill this kind of desire or want for you, it kind of pushes people away. And the same thing with cats. Like, anyone who owns cats or who has been with cats knows that the more you try to, like, cuddle and get them to hang out with you, the more they're going to just run away, you know. But then if you just kind of like relax and you're doing your own thing, then they might jump up on your lap and, you know, hang out with you for a little bit. And it taught me this weird balance of just, like, you know, give them their space, give them unconditional love. And again, it sounds stupid, but like, the application of that with these cats has carried over with people. So now I'm like working and giving people unconditional love, like, even if they're nasty or whatever, you know. And this is for maybe a topic of another video, but we all have our history, our past that we've been through that makes us the way we are. I mean, granted, with cats, this is, you know, they have a pretty charmed life, but with people, you know, if someone's nasty to you or is not giving you the attention or whatever, chances are they have their own thing going on. Like, they have their own struggle and suffering that they're going through. So I think compassion is available there if we just realize, like, hey, some people need some space, some people need support, but overall we're just meeting people where they're at, or in this case, cats. So, quick little story. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting, so we'll see if anyone resonates.